Good evening. My name is Bethany Roscoe. I'm the statewide recruitment director for Encore STEM Teachers Program. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Encore 101 webinar. We are going to go through some slides and have some time to ask questions as well tonight. Just some quick logistics. Currently, everyone is muted. Throughout the presentation, feel free to ask questions via the question box, and I will be recording this webinar and will email you all the link after the webinar is over. Our webinar will take maybe 30 minutes with time for questions. And I apologize, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to try not to cough too much, but please bear with me, and thanks so much for being with us this evening. So we're going to do some introductions. We'll talk about the Encore mission and impact, and then we'll get into what our application and selection looks like, and also the fellowship and beyond. Before I go any further, if those of you on the line could just really quickly type into the box, yep, can hear you, or thumbs up, something of that nature, so that I know that you can hear us and also see the slides. That would be excellent. I'm just going to pause for a moment. All right, so it looks like we are good to go. Okay, so let's get into the meat of our evening. So I'd love to begin with some introductions. This is our program and recruitment team at Encore, and you'll see all of our emails listed there as well. On the left-hand side, you'll see our recruitment team, our NorCal recruitment coordinator, Sue, as well as our SoCal recruitment coordinator, Tanya, and myself. And then you'll also see the program point person for each of our regions. So feel free to jot down these people's email addresses if you have specific questions about the region that you are in. And a little bit about me. I'm the statewide recruitment director for Encore. I began my career in education as a high school math and science teacher in the Los Angeles area, and I became passionate about recruiting new talent into the teaching profession after I recruited for a charter network in the San Fernando Valley and had to place multiple substitutes into math and science classrooms in one school year. And I found Encore about 5 years ago, and I'm just blown away by the incredible professionals who want to transition their knowledge from industry into teaching. And it's my honor to speak to you all this evening, those of you that are thinking about offering so much to the next generation. So if you would, I'd love to just know who's on the line with me. Why are you thinking about teaching? Why are you interested in exploring teaching as a second career? And what STEM industry are you coming from? If you'd just briefly type in, love to know you a little bit, and I'll give us about 30 seconds to get those responses in. Okay, excellent. I see we have people coming from lots of different STEM industries. It sounds like there's a main thread here of wanting to give back and find a more rewarding career. So let's talk about why Encore exists. First of all, we know that students excel in excellent teachers' classrooms. Research shows that teachers are the most important school-based factor when it comes to student achievement, and that encountering an above-average teacher for 5 years in a row could actually overcome the achievement gap. Teachers can have a huge role in a student's future, including their future earnings, and this is why we're working to find STEM professionals who can bridge real-life experience with expert content knowledge and access to opportunity in our highest need schools. Unfortunately, we do not have enough excellent STEM teachers, especially for our most disadvantaged communities. There's a crisis-level teacher shortage in California, and the Learning Policy Institute says that teacher shortages have been worsening in California since 2015, and growth in teacher demand as the economy has improved has collided with steep declines in the supply of new teachers. We actually just read some articles today about how teacher enrollment in teacher credential programs is down a third since 2010. So we are at a crisis level teacher shortage, and we see this play out in how well our students are doing in math and science. We at Encore believe that all students should have access to a great STEM education, teacher, and opportunities, and unfortunately that's not currently true. STEM education in the U.S. is lacking, especially for minority and low-income students. In the most recent results from the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, which is known as the Smarter Balanced Assessments, only 39% of students in California met or exceeded the math standards. And it's worse if we look at that data by ethnicity. The racial achievement gap persists, while 54% of white students met or exceeded the math standards in 2018, only 27% of Latino students and only 20% of African American students met or exceeded them. And we can see this on a global level. We should be worried about where students are standing in math and science. In the PISA exam, the science exam, it's a worldwide study of 15-year-olds' performance. Students in China, Hong Kong, Canada, Finland, Estonia, Taiwan, and Japan are about a year ahead of the U.S. on average, and students in Singapore are more than 2 years ahead. We need our students to be able to compete in a global economy, and not only that, we need a diverse STEM workforce to innovate and be able to move forward. So this is where you come in. Those of you on the line, I'm assuming that you come from the science, technology, engineering, math industries, and you have expertise and probably want to get involved in education in high-need schools. That's why you're joining us this evening. And you can really make a difference by teaching. Students need to learn from experts in the field who can answer the question of relevance. And students also need role models who have real industry experience that can connect schoolwork with the real world and real careers. So Encore is now in our 12th year of public service, and we are the only nonprofit in the nation that enables STEM professionals to make a career transition to teaching in a low-risk and highly supported way. Our fellowship is a long-term solution to the enduring STEM achievement and literacy gaps that disproportionately limit low-income and minority student opportunities. And we believe that STEM industry leaders bring technical skills, leadership, and real-world expertise to public schools to deliver an authentic and relevant STEM education. Over the last 12 years, we've also seen the great impact people like you can have on students. Encore Fellows impact over 30,000 students in high-need schools annually. And over 96% of our school partners report increases in student excitement and conceptual understanding of math and science while working with an Encore Fellow. And similarly, over 92% report increases in student achievement. Our fellows also stay in teaching. This is something we are very proud of. We have an 88% 5-year teacher retention rate compared to nearly 50% of teachers that remain in California low-income districts after 5 years of teaching. We believe that our support, professional development, and preparation contribute to this incredible rate. And we're also proud to say that our fellows bring diversity to the classroom. 46% are teachers of color compared to the national average of 18%. So qualified applicants for the Encore Fellowship should live in an area that we serve. So that's currently the Bay Area, the Greater Sacramento area, Greater Los Angeles, which includes North Orange County, Riverside, as well as San Diego, and have at least 3 or more years of work or research experience in a STEM industry, be fully eligible to work in the United States, and hold an undergraduate degree with a 2.5 GPA or higher, and not currently hold a California single subject teaching credential. And these are our baseline eligibility requirements. So if you meet those, then you would fill out our online application with background information and respond to 3 questions via video interview as the second step. And previous coursework or experience in education is not expected or necessary. So as I mentioned, after submitting an application, qualified applicants would be invited to record a video interview. This is a really easy process. You would be sent a link to respond to 3 questions in 3 minutes on video. And we're not looking for perfection here, just your authentic voice and response to our questions. And our team then reviews your video and invites qualified applicants to the next round, which is an in-person interview where you'd meet Encore staff and learn more about our program. And if we feel that you're a great fit for the Encore Fellowship, you would be invited to join Encore and receive a commitment letter and instructions for completing an online background check. Encore is a selective program, and we take our role in finding great STEM teachers for high-need schools very seriously. In the last 3 years, about 35% of applicants were invited to an in-person interview. So Encore Fellows do come from a diverse range of STEM industries, but they all share a core commitment to public service and teaching in high-need schools. And so if you're thinking about the fellowship, it'd be important that you are collaborative, flexible, and have a strong work ethic. Detail-oriented and highly organized will come in handy as a middle and high school teacher. And most importantly, that you have an unwavering belief that all students can achieve, regardless of their background or circumstances. Once in the fellowship, you would choose from 2 types of teaching credentials. The single subject credential in core traditional subjects like math, chemistry, physics, and biology, and the career and technical education credential, also called CTE for short, which are elective courses in engineering, information technology, transportation, etc. And you can see all of the subject areas listed here. We do talk quite a bit in detail about credentialing at our in-person interviews. So keep that in mind as you're going through the process. The timeline to complete the Encore program and begin teaching in your own classroom is dependent on what type of credential you decide to earn and your preferred timeline. So applying between now and our final deadline, which is April 27th, 2020, means that you are applying for our 2020B cohort. So we had a winter application deadline November 15th. So that was for our 2020A cohort. And we are now recruiting for the 2020B cohort. And this is what the timeline would look like for that cohort. As a new fellow, you would begin training right away with our online modules, and you would attend our Spring Institute in March. In June, you would attend a new volunteer orientation at our Summer Institute, and that sets you up for guest teaching in the fall. Volunteer guest teaching then begins in August for a minimum of 2 hours per week at a local school partner and can continue for the whole school year. Then you would choose an accelerated or standard timeline. With the accelerated pathway, you would teach in your own classroom by fall of 2021, and you can earn a single subject credential in an intern program, beginning coursework in the spring and continuing that coursework through your first year teaching, online or in the evenings. As an intern teacher, you earn a salary and benefits, and you can also choose the CTE route, where you would take CTE coursework in the spring, which only lasts about 4 months, And again, in the accelerated pathway, you would be teaching in your own classroom by fall of 2021. With the standard pathway, you would teach in your own classroom by fall of 2022. And after guest teaching, you would spend a year taking coursework and student teaching or participating in a residency program to earn your credential. This is a bit longer timeline and allows you to gain a lot of field experience and training before going into your own classroom. I'm going to pause here for just a moment because I see a couple of questions coming in. All right, so someone is asking, is it too late to be able to teach by fall of 2020? Yes, unfortunately it is. We have our final in-person interviews for the 2020A cohort happening tomorrow, actually. Those are the in-person interviews. And those people will attend a new volunteer orientation in January to start their guest teaching right away and potentially be teaching by next fall. So we are looking at the 2020B cohort. Let me go forward here. All right, so again, fellows may choose from any single subject or career technical education credential program, and you can see the timelines listed here in writing. Encore has relationships with most universities and offers tuition reduction at some select universities as well. Some additional details about the single subject and career and technical education credentials. For the single subject credentials, you would need to pass the CBEST and CSET exams. You do not need to pass them before applying to Encore. You will also need to obtain official transcripts and submit those along with a resume and essay to the university of your choice. The tuition for single subject programs ranges from about $10,000 to $25,000, with the CSU schools usually being the cheapest option, the public schools. And if you earn a single subject, you are typically eligible to apply for the federal Teach Grant, which would be a grant of up to $5,000 to put towards your credential. For a CTE credential, you will not need to complete the CBEST or CSET exams. Instead, you would obtain verifications of employment and official transcripts, and then apply to your program. Most Encore Fellows have gone through the Orange County Department of Education because they have a convenient online program, and their coursework takes about 3 months to complete, which you can begin in October, February, or June. For Encore Fellows without a single subject credential, which is most Encore Fellows, the tuition is about $2,500. And if you choose to earn both credentials, we recommend getting your single subject credential first because it actually allows you to skip much of the coursework from the CTE credential. And as I mentioned, we'll get into more details about this at our interview days. So in addition to discussing the credentialing, there are many benefits Encore provides as a part of our program for free. First, you will volunteer as a guest teacher, where you will observe, shadow, and eventually teach your own lessons with an experienced host teacher as your mentor. Our host teachers are carefully selected and have 3 or more years of teaching experience under their belt. These placements often become future employment opportunities as well. Along with your experienced guest teaching, you'll be supported by your Encore program team, who would guide you through the process to earn a teaching credential. And the program team also observes you at your school site, connects you to other fellows and schools, and prepares you for teaching interviews and supports you as you get into your own classroom. Encore also provides credentialing resources, research and CSET study materials, and we have personal relationships with credentialing universities. We also offer a robust slate of professional development through our 3 in-person events each year, our Summer Residential Institute, Fall and Spring Institutes, and our in-person sessions are practical, interactive work sessions to build teaching skills, which reinforces topics like classroom management, behavior and instructional strategies, diversity and inclusion, project-based learning, etc. Right away, you would also begin our online professional development modules through Google Classroom, which also serves as a place you can connect to other fellows online. On top of all of this, you would have a cohort of peers with which to share the experience. And fellows often tell me that the most important, or the thing that they love the most about being an Encore, is sharing with others who are also transitioning to teaching and coming from industry. And we do host social gatherings and have online communication tools to keep in touch with others in Encore. In addition, when you enter a new industry, it's often helpful to get a foot in the door and really create a network. And we do have close relationships with partner schools and districts in all of our regions who are interested in hiring our fellows, of course. I cannot show you all of our Encore partner schools on one slide, but we do have partners that are spread out geographically, as well as by grade level and various subjects. And we also provide a list regionally at our in-person interviews. So when you become an Encore Fellow, you commit to beginning the process to become a teacher in a high needs middle or high school in the next 1 to 3 years. And that includes completing our online professional development modules, volunteering a minimum of 2 hours a week at a consistent day and time for 1 or 2 semesters. That can be completed typically while working full-time as well, and attending our 3 in-person events. Lastly, you would create a plan with your program team to complete key steps in the credentialing process and monitor your progress to becoming a teacher. Once fellows become credentialed teachers, they are hired at traditional districts as well as charter schools. And we ask fellows to commit to teaching at least 3 years in a high needs school. Encore Fellows become highly effective teachers. Just last year, several Encore Fellows were recognized with local and national awards. You'll see here Nancy Katindoy, who is a former project manager in the biotech industry. She was recognized as one of the most inspiring teachers by the Sacramento Education Foundation, and she teaches math and engineering at the School of Engineering and Sciences in Sacramento. And Richard Chung, whose background is in accounting, was recognized as the outstanding educator by the National Association of Alternative Credential Convention, and he teaches math special education at Pasadena High School in Los Angeles. We are proud of the work our fellows do every day, dedicating their lives to inspiring the next generation. So I encourage you to consider teaching as your next career. And our spring application deadline is February 28th, coming up in a couple of months here. We host in-person interviews in all of our regions monthly, and we do encourage you to apply and interview early. If you do have additional questions about the fellowship, feel free to type them right now, or get in touch with any of the program team or recruitment team that you saw on the first slide. And I will actually go back to that slide just in case you want our email addresses. So I'll wait on the line for the next couple of minutes to see if anyone has questions. But again, thank you so much for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you all on the line, and we look forward to speaking to you personally.